Lawwin Media Network.
Bringing to you the most relevant content across all platforms.
Business, legal, politics, health, lifestyle, and entertainment.
Your source for all the news and updates in the greater Houston community from Texas and all over the world.
Get informed and empowered with Lawwin Media Network.
Good evening everyone, and welcome to episode 11 of Be Bold, Why Not? And to all our viewers from the Philippines, magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. And you are watching us live on Facebook, YouTube, stream.lawin.live, and twitch.tv. And if you missed our live show, you can listen to our podcasts on Spotify, Amazon Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and a lot more. So as we continue our theme for this season, which is Legendary Speaker's Journey, we have a very, very special guest whom I have met during my training with Les Brown a year ago. And here in Be Bold, Why Not? I really try to share stories with our viewers that I know will inspire you all. And I've just been privileged to really meet special people that have very, very powerful stories. And tonight, oh my God, you couldn't believe how special his story is. I know that you will be impacted in a very positive way. I know that you will be empowered with his story. And I'm just blessed to have him tonight on the show. So our guest for tonight is no other than Mr. Corey Ivy. He's a successful real estate investor and entrepreneur. And he's from Florida, and he is really, wow, his story was very powerful during the training or during the certification at Les Brown that he even won. We'll talk about this story later. He's going to tell all about it when he comes in, but he was the winner, or he was the best speaker among the guys during the training. And I'm just so excited to have him on the show tonight. So let's get him in. Corey Ivy, come on in and welcome to Be Bold, Why Not? Hello.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. That was a great intro.
How are you, Corey?
What's that?
How are you?
Oh, I'm great. I'm doing great. It was a good day. Nice day.
Awesome.
Every day.
Yeah, share us where you're from.
I live in Orlando, Florida, currently. Live with my daughter. She goes to school and works at Disney.
She works at Disney?
Yes.
Disney work? Wow, that's great. I want to be there. I was telling you,
Falcon. She works that right.
Okay. Well, as I was telling you earlier, I was just there like last week.
Yeah.
So the sunny Florida, right? Known for being a tourist spot because of Disney World.
Yes.
So you have a daughter.
I have two daughters.
Two daughters. How old are your daughters?
22 and 20. They're both in college.
Uh-huh. And which school do they go to?
One is in school in Georgia, and the other one, of course, is here at UCF.
Okay. That's
Yeah, I'm
amazing.
pretty proud of them. They so good so far, man. I love them. They're great. One of the
Oh
greatest
yes.
things in my life. Yeah.
Yeah, parents, they always are proud of their children. So I have three myself. My
Oh, wow.
oldest is like 26, and my second one is 25, almost 25, and my youngest is 17. I have two boys and a girl.
They grow up fast.
They do, they do. And
One minute they're on your knee.
yeah, you just miss them when they were little, right? So I just want to ask, I'm just curious. Tell us about the young Corey. How were you as a child? Can you share
Um,
some insights and
sure. Well,
yeah.
actually, I was born in Georgia,
Mm-hmm.
and when I was about 5, uh, I moved to Indian Village in Alaska, in Ruby, Alaska,
Mm-hmm.
and I get it's like I was about 5 years old. My dad comes in, he throws his trunk on the ground, and he's like, put all the toys you can fit in there. We're moving to Alaska, and I was like, I didn't know as a kid, I didn't know how to pack or anything, and the next thing you know, we were in Indian Village with like 500 people on the Yukon. The only way in was a small airplane, and because he
Mm-hmm.
was a principal, we lived in the school. There was a 2-bedroom apartment on one end of the school and a 2-bedroom on the other. And there was 2 teachers, a couple lived on the other side. And then we lived, I had 2 older brothers. So we had like triple bunk beds in the 1 bedroom. So
Mm-hmm.
we spent about 2 years there before going into Anchorage. And that's where I graduated high school. I went all the way through there. So I grew up.
Okay. Wow, that's amazing. It seems like most of my guests on the show have been to different places in the world. Yeah, well traveled. So from that experience moving from one place to another, what was the most enjoyable or what was the most fun experience you had?
I would say, I'd never been around snow. I learned to dog sled.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know anything about, we learned, all the Alaskan things. I learned how to, trap and hunt and that kind of stuff. The stuff that I didn't, from Georgia, I didn't know. I was playing baseball and everything, and all of a sudden it was a big change to learn how to, ice skate, things like that. So
That's awesome. And I know Alaska, they're known for great fish, right?
yes.
Yes, healthy, healthy. So, do you like fish?
Not anymore. No,
Not
I do
anymore.
like fish. I just don't eat salmon anymore because I've had salmon just about every which way you can have it. Salmon eggs, grilled salmon, dried salmon. It's like the Forrest Gump movie. I've had just about salmon every which way you can have it. So I don't eat it. It's not that it's bad or anything. I choose. I've had so much. I'm pretty much
Okay,
done with it.
you got tired of it, huh? Yeah. So I also remember because we have friends that have been to Alaska or we've met people. So is it true? It's like the night and day is like really different in Alaska,
Yeah.
right?
At wintertime, it never really gets light. It gets like a dusk, and it's freezing cold. When we first moved there, the weather, we couldn't really go outside because, as a young kid, it's like you want to go outside, but you couldn't because it was like 50 below. You could throw water in the air and it'd freeze in the air. It was literally
Mhm.
that cold.
Okay. So I asked you about what you enjoyed the most. Now, let me ask you, what challenges did you go through moving from one place to another?
Well,
And
there
when
was
did you start settling down? Yeah.
well, kind of the first week we were in town, the kids, because we were like basically other than the preacher's kid, we were like the only white kids in the town. They were all just at the Basket Indian, and they stole my bike the first day.
Oh my God.
Stole a bike. Me and my brothers had to go get my bike back, and it was it was a different world. I mean, until they got to know us and all, what I mean? Like, because we were
Yeah.
like, who are these kids? Just kid
Oh,
stuff.
I remember my son when he went to UT Austin. First day of his class, he lost his bike too.
Oh.
Yeah, he even had it. You know how you put a chain on
Yeah.
the back? He chained it, but unfortunately, I mean, it got stolen. Like first day in his like college kid, it happened. So you know what he just said? Maybe that person needed it more
Maybe
than
they needed the bike more than him, obviously.
yeah.
You have to
That's
steal it, yeah.
yeah.
I
So
can-
Wow. Anyway, so when did you move to, you said Anchorage?
Yes.
Yeah. How
After
old were
about
you?
2 years, we moved into Anchorage, and that's where I went to high school, West Anchorage High School. Went all the way through till I graduated, and then I moved out of Alaska.
Mhm.
The cold, the dark. It kind of
Yeah.
gets to you after a while. It kind of gets
So
to you
you
after a
came
while.
back to the mainland USA. So where did you go from there?
Well, I just moved back to Georgia and
Okay.
went to college and did 2 years, and then just started working. And you know, uh, eventually, uh, I worked. Then I got in with a finance company, started learning the finance business, and then from there, I learned mortgages. Just kind of, how it progresses along. And then as I got in mortgages, I got more into real estate, and that's kind of brought me to where I got into the real estate investing. You know.
That's
Uh,
amazing.
Yeah, I'm not married now, but I was married for about 23 years.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I guess it was about 99 I got married. So, and then after the girl graduated, then, we went our separate ways. People change a lot over time, you know.
Mm-hmm. That's true. I mean, I think that's really a great lesson to learn from there is you were married for 23 years, and how was it getting separated after 23 years? I've been married for 27.
Yeah,
So I want to learn the wisdom, or I want to
it
know
was
about the
rough. You know
wisdom.
what I
Yeah.
mean? It changes your world, it catapulted me into, actually, the what all I went through actually
Mm-hmm.
built me up. It made me find myself again. After you're with someone so long, you just kind of get in the day and day. It's just kind of like wearing the same old slippers all the time. You just kind of get comfortable, and it kind of pushed me out to where it was like forced me to kind of reevaluate myself
Mm-hmm.
and kind of you know what I mean, realign and uh,
Mm-hmm.
actually went good. I After we split, the girls were in school. I took an RV and I went back and forth across the country for a couple of years. About 2 years, I
Mm-hmm.
was just driving back and forth from California and checking out all the states and just enjoying being me, I guess. Enjoying life.
Yeah, that is so cool. So you've traveled pretty much all over the US?
Yes, in my RV, I had an old beat up RV that I remodeled. So
Mhm. So
yeah.
which is your favorite state? I'm curious.
That's hard to tell because it's weird because each state has different in its own little way. Of course, Texas is so big; it takes forever to cross Texas. I did
Mhm.
love Texas. It's very windy, awful windy
Oh,
there.
yes.
Very windy, uh, and I loved it. Texas, very friendly in Texas.
Uh-huh.
I
Uh-huh.
did. I actually thought about. I had a buddy of mine who lives in Houston. He was trying to get me to move there. I thought about moving there.
You
Anyway,
really?
yeah,
Uh-huh.
I did. I thought about moving there. Um,
Uh-huh. That's good.
Oklahoma, the
Okay.
people are so friendly in Oklahoma, but the
Mm-hmm.
weather is so horrible. When I was there, it was just,
Yeah.
as I traveled, I went through things like dust storms and just, and that RV just shakes back and forth. You barely keep it on the road, as the wind and
Uh-huh.
stuff. So, uh,
Uh-huh.
no, I did. I rented a lot. I didn't, it's crazy. I was traveling all over and I didn't run into anybody that was nasty. Was crazy is, you'd think on the road you might run in, but it seemed like everybody was,
It was really nice.
yeah, and all across the board. The stores are about, what I mean? It's the way the corporations have got it now that it's like pretty much they got the same stores in every city and every state of every, you know what I mean? Like it's the same. I
Yeah.
should have done is I should have wrote a book about Walmart, the different
Uh-huh.
Walmarts across the country, because I could stay in the parking lot for free at Walmart in the RV. So,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
so I'd park it there, and I got to know all the different Walmarts. It's funny.
Yeah. That must have been a really cool experience. Wow.
It
I,
was nice. It was nice. I really liked out the desert. Arizona was beautiful.
mm-hmm.
And a lot of these. I mean, the sunsets are so different. It's the same sun, but the sunsets like the sunsets here in Florida. I lived down in Siesta Key for a long time.
Mhm.
And the sunset in Florida is so different from the one in Arizona, which is different from the one in Texas. Even though it's the same sun, it's just like it's so different colors. It's hard to describe. It's nice.
So what did you learn? Well, you know what? Let me hold that,
Yeah.
okay? Because we're now on our first break. See
Okay.
how time flies so quickly. So we will be back after a short break, and we will continue chatting with Corey. So see you in a bit. All right, we're back. That was fun. See, it was a really great start. Anyway, let me read some of the comments before we continue.
Sure.
Yes. So we have Daisel Miral Siaton. Good evening or good morning, Mom MJ, watching from Pangasinan. Thank you so much. We have Rose Ann Banyas Alvendia. Good evening, Texas, watching from Pangasinan, Philippines. Yes, thank you. And we have Recto Julius. Good evening, Mom MJ, watching from Pangasinan.
Nice.
And we have Rose Lauren Alvendia. Good evening, Texas, watching from Pangasinan. And we have Geraldine Garcia. Hello, Ma'am MJ and Sir Corey IV, watching from Pangasinan. Yes, thank you so much. We have Cicel Cuario. Good evening, Ma'am MJ. And we have Francisco Jasmine Ungria. Hello, everyone. Hello, Ma'am MJ and Sir Corey IV, watching from Tagupan City. Thank you so much. And we have May De Vera. She has a question. I am just curious. What do speakers normally talk about when it comes to speaking events? So we will answer that for May. So before that, though, you want to answer that quickly, Corey? See what your thoughts are?
Me, when I speak, I usually just tell my story. I usually tell what happened to me, how I started my journey of trying to help people. You know, I basically is my speaking. I know different people usually either speak about their circumstances, their what they've been through, how they got there themselves. There's it depends on what kind of speaker. I know there's certain speakers that speak on their expertise, like if they're a scientist or doctor or something like that, or nurse, or, you know what I mean? So, but me personally, that's what I do is I just speak on my story.
Yeah, and we will talk about your story later, but also I want to add to what you said. Yes, normally when we speak, it's actually about our own story because our goal is to inspire people and to share our experiences and the lessons that we learn through our journey. Because we know that somebody in the audience might be just waiting for that story to hear that story, because that can empower them, it can help them get through whatever experiences they're going through. I always believed, as one of the gurus that I follow too, he says that we actually are most qualified to help others that are going through to what we have been through because of our experiences. And that's how we can help each other. So yeah, and again, you're right, it depends too on the event. So some people, they speak about their expertise, they share materials that they learn from whoever they got certified from. So there's a lot of different ways, but normally we create our own signature story because that's how we become more powerful. Because if it's your own story, it's more authentic, right? And people can connect more with you that's the power of storytelling. So, yep, and we will talk about Corey's story after a while. But I just want to ask, I think my question related to your traveling on your RV by yourself. So during that journey or that stage in your life, what did you learn about yourself, Corey? If you can share that to us.
Well, actually, I learned that I had somehow forgot myself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, as you get older and you got family, you got kids, you got responsibilities, you have a job, you got all this stuff that you're carrying day in and day out, that you kind of forget about yourself. You're pulled in so many different directions,
Mm-hmm.
and it really did me a world of wonder to just where I had no, I knew my girls were taken care of. I knew everything, it was just, I had no responsibilities, it was just me and the road and the RV. And it was, I was actually able to, fall in love with myself again, I guess, you know what I mean? Like it's kind of an awakening, it was really, it was a beautiful thing. It's something that I needed, I believe, to kind of push me along my journey.
Yes, that's really profound. And it's true. We tend to forget about ourselves and not care about ourselves if we are so swallowed by all the different, experiences, or because we want to be there for other people, we forget that ourselves need to be taken care of too, right?
Exactly.
So, yeah, and this rediscovering or rediscovering yourself was probably the best experience that you had. So what came out of that experience? Who was the new Corey after that? How long, by the way? I'm just curious, how long did you do that, traveling in your RV by
About
yourself?
2.5 years, 2 years. So
Uh-huh.
yeah, it was,
Wow.
yeah, it was, I enjoyed it. It was, after a while, you get, cause I would shower at like the like Planet Fitnesses and things like that. You know what I mean? Like the road
Mhm.
living, after a while, it kind of wears on you. It's not for the young at heart, I can tell you that. It's not, you know what I mean? It has to be for the young at heart, I should say, because it is enduring. It's not
Uh-huh.
all fun. It's not all, like I said, the weather and this things like that. I got, I was in LA, like the first
Mhm.
time it snowed in LA, and I don't know how long.
Oh, because it barely snows in LA, right?
Yeah, and I guess it was maybe 2 years ago, I think it was, and I heard about snow, and I was trying to leave and head back east, and I got caught up in Palm Springs, which is a beautiful place. Palm Springs,
Okay.
really nice town, and it was snowing there. But I just parked the RV, and it was just hung out and enjoyed the weather, enjoyed the
Uh-huh.
snow.
So
So
maybe you brought the snow.
it could have been following me. You don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah, you probably brought the snow. Anyway, so that was really cool. I mean, I wish I could travel more than Texas. Well, I've been to Florida, I've been to California, maybe Arizona. So I've been to few states, and it's really fun to see other states, learn about their weather and the culture and all that. And there are so many people that I know in California. It seems like
Yeah.
California is overrated too.
Yeah. Oh my
Because,
gosh,
yeah,
gas
yeah.
prices and
Oh, yes. My
I'll
son
never
lives.
forget when I
Yeah.
went to the grocery store, and I thought that I was like, man, these people are really environmentally friendly. Look at that. Everybody's bringing in their own bags and everything. I thought, man, these people really care about their. Then I get in there and I go to check out, and the guy's like, you want to, he goes over, he goes, how many bags you want? I go, what do you mean? I said, enough for the groceries. It was like 25 cents a bag for the groceries. I'm like, oh, now I know
Yeah.
why everybody's bringing their own bag.
Yeah, because you pay for the bags.
Exactly.
I know. Yeah. Anyway, yes, one of my sons live in California, San Diego, so I know how that is. It's expensive, especially gas prices. Woo.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Imagine filling an RV, how much that costs.
Yeah. Oh wow. Anyway, so when did you learn, or what experience brought you to realize that you actually wanted to go into speaking?
I believe it was actually just talking with people,
Mhm.
and the people that I would, just talking to them about, my stories, they said, you should talk on stage. You should be up on stage, and I had thought about it before. I had done, when I was, I was very active in the real estate. I would speak at the real estate meetings, but I was
Mhm.
talking about real estate. I wasn't really talking about myself. I was just explaining, like wholesaling or fix and flipping,
Mhm.
that kind of thing. But no, and I've always looked up. I like Tony Robbins, and Dean Graziosi, and Les, and so
Brown.
um,
Yeah.
I thought, well, I'll give it a shot,
Mhm.
and I like it. I like being able to help people. When somebody
Yeah.
comes up and says that you know they were not having a good day or something like that, and after I talked, and that they saw things differently, I like
Mhm.
that. I like being
Mhm.
able to, even if I could just help one person, to me, that's
That's
beautiful.
big.
That's a beautiful thing.
Yes, that's huge. And I'm with you there because I've been through situations as well. Like you randomly just meet a person. Like
Yeah.
I remember, like randomly you meet someone and you share a little bit about yourself and your story, and then they will tell you, wow, I mean, I appreciate you sharing that because now I have a different perspective in life.
That you
And
see, that's not random.
mhm,
There are no
yeah, yeah,
coincidences. They
yeah,
were brought to you.
yeah.
They were brought to you.
Yes, yes, let me correct that. I believe, I believe this is because I am a woman of faith too.
Yeah.
I believe that God brings people in our lives that He thinks need to hear our stories because they
Yes.
are going through something. And through you, you are able to empower them. Yes. I know I read your bio and I wanted to, this is big because share us what experience you had that really made a difference in your life.
You mean
When you,
would
yeah,
transform me?
yes, yes.
Um, where it all started?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the beginning, I was doing real estate. I had helped a friend move, and they were a hoarder, and they had passed away, and I was moving all the stuff out, and I'd scraped my leg, didn't think anything of it, and then it just wouldn't heal, and it wouldn't
Yeah.
heal, and I started putting on weight. I put on maybe 20 something pounds, and within like 2 weeks, my ex was like, "Man, you're putting on a lot of weight." I was like, "Yeah, I wasn't eating anything different or anything." And I was down visiting my father-in-law at the time
Mm-hmm.
in Tampa, and I was on the beach, relaxing, drinking a beer, and next thing you know, I was out,
Mm-hmm.
and I came to, and I had this thing on my face,
Mm-hmm.
and I heard deep, 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 deep. I was like, what am I? I'm thinking, what am I doing in the hospital? What's going on? I was freaking out, and all these people, were in the bed, and they were all staring at me, and I didn't, this guy in a white coat
Mm-hmm.
at the end, and he looks at me, and he says, "Don't try to talk, don't try to talk." And uh, he goes over, and he's looking at me, and he had me, some questions, and had me nod yes or no to him. And I'll never forget, he goes over, and I could see him at the foot of my bed, and he reaches over, and he lifts up my foot,
Mm-hmm.
and then he takes his pen, and he goes like this up and down on my foot, and he says, "Can you feel that?" And I couldn't feel it.
Mm-hmm.
And then he goes over to my other foot, and he does the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
"Can you feel that?" And I couldn't. And
Mm-hmm.
can you imagine? I just started freaking out. I literally did. I was like, "This is a bad nightmare." I started trying to yank my stuff. I was trying to, my arms, everything was working fine. I was trying to get it, and felt this thing warm in my arm, and I was out, right? And I woke up again, and the room's clear, and it's just the guy in the white coat, and he's
Mm-hmm.
standing over me. Um, And they had said to me at the time, he said, Mr. Spivey, he didn't have my name right. I remember that aggravated me. He didn't have my name right. That's how much he didn't really care what was going on with me. But the, you know what I'm saying? So as I was freaking out, he says, Mr. Spivey, he said, what happened is you had a staph infection, which attacked your liver, and your liver, when it was shutting down to protect itself, released enzymes. The enzymes attacked your brain, and we caught it in time. But as of now, you have a 30% chance to talk again and a 10% chance to walk again.
Oh my. And
he started talking. I don't know, it was like Charlie Brown's teacher. I didn't hear. He was just, I didn't know what to do. You know, I was in shock. I was like, what, he was, I heard in the background, like 18 months of rehab and learning to walk in a wheelchair, all this stuff. And it was just like a ton of bricks, just boom, I was like, and so I started freaking out again. Wasn't very good with my temper back then. And I started, and then, so of course they put me out, and I woke up and I still, I woke up and I just like, move, my feet just wouldn't move. Eventually, days went by, and they, the mask came off, and I don't know if you've ever been there where you just don't see a way out. You don't, there's no, you're in such a dark place that you don't, anybody can say to you will get you out of that place.
Make you feel better. Yeah.
And, I'm not proud of it, but I had give up because I had 2 small girls at the time. And, who's going to walk them down the aisle? If you can imagine, I was like the breadwinner. I was, you know what I mean? I didn't know, but I had a life insurance policy.
Yes.
Pretty substantial. And I remember, this is how crazy we think when we're in a bad spot. I remember hearing that if you get an air bubble in your IV, that it'll kill you. That'll, if it goes up in your bloodstream. So I planned it out, and I waited till like, I don't know, 2, 3 in the morning. I was hiding my pills under my under my pillow. And I waited, and it was like about 3 in the morning. And so I start yanking away, pinching at the, trying to just pinching away. And then all of a sudden the door light comes on. I'm like, oh crap, I'm busted. I'm like, oh man, they're gonna put me in a psych ward or something. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh no. You know what I mean? You can imagine I'm like cold busted. And all of a sudden there's this lady who come in, and I'll never forget, she had like a black, but like gray streak hair, like an older lady. And she wasn't a nurse, looked like a clergy or something, but she was like, boom, she came over, she was bam, right at the bed, like right there. And she's like, stop, like a mom does
yes.
To touch the stove or something.
It's like, yeah.
It scared me. She's like, stop. And I was like, and then she grabbed my hand and she said, you're not done yet. You're not done yet. And when she said that, this wave just kind of went from like all the way from my head, all the way down my whole body. And it was like this warm feeling, like, you get like sheets or towels out of the dryer, that feeling. It was like that. It was all the way down my whole body. And then, I was out, I was like, so I woke up like I normally do the next day. And I was thinking, that was the craziest dream ever. I was like, was that real? And I reached, my pills were still there behind my pillow. And I was like, man, that is the craziest thing. And so then I did like I did every morning, move to my feet. And then the next morning, at the very foot of my bed, I saw my big toe.
Wow.
It was moving.
Wow.
And I was like, at that moment, I saw my big toe moving. It was like, it blew my mind, because this may sound a little crazy, but in fourth grade, I remember this. We studied Helen Keller. I don't know why it came to my mind right then and there, but it did. Where there was something saying about we focus so much on the closed door, we don't realize there's one open.
Mm-hmm.
And it made me realize that I was so focused on that he said I only had 10% chance. I didn't even consider the fact that I could be the 10%.
Yes.
Until I saw that move, and they even dismissed it. The guy in white coat's like, no, it's just reflex. Don't get your hopes up, this and that. And I'm like, no, I am that 10%. I'm walking out of here, man. And I just, and I just, as soon as I had flipped that switch and said, I am that 10%, I am walking out of here. I didn't care what anybody said. And I kept on getting better and better. And even when I was in the walker going up and down the halls, they still come up and said, oh, I think you're good for the day. You're done for. I'm like, no. I'm like, shake my hand, no. I'm walking out of here, dude. I don't think you get it, man.
Yes.
I'm not gonna go lay in that bed. I've been in that bed forever, man. I ain't going back to that bed. And and so I got where I was able to walk on a cane. And I was thanking everybody as I was leaving. I still couldn't really speak too well. I've been working with a speech pathologist, and I was getting better instead of having to write everything. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to thank everybody. And I was like, I told the nurse, I was like, you guys were great, this and that. And I said, I really want to thank the clergy lady, because that was my turnaround. I said, I really want to thank the lady from, the clergy lady who'd come in. And she said, well, our chapel has been under remodel for the last 6 months. And there's a guy who comes once a week, and that's about it. Mm-hmm. That changed my life.
Oh, wow.
That's when I knew
God
gave me another chance.
Amen. Yes.
I wasn't done yet, and I needed to do something with my life. And that's when I completely devoted myself to helping others and learning about myself as much as I can with nutrition and learning the way my brain works, my body works, my spirit works. And I completely, that changed my life.
Wow, Corey, that is so profound. I mean, that is really a miracle. I mean, that was 100% work of God.
It was a blessing.
Yes. Anyway, we got a little bit over past our break, but I didn't want to interrupt because
it's okay. I'm sorry I went long.
No, that was very powerful. I wanted everybody to hear it all throughout. But we will go on a short break, and when we come back, we will continue with your very inspiring story.
In a world filled with fleeting moments, there's beauty waiting to be captured. My name is Christian, and I specialize in immortalizing your most precious memories. From elegant weddings to vibrant events and timeless portraits, I'm here to make every moment unforgettable. Let me tell your story through the lens. Contact me today and let's create magic together.
All right. Wow. I'm still feeling it. Anyway, we will continue, and let's read some more of the comments from our viewers. So let's see. From Ara Requilman Ungria, hello Ma'am MJ, watching from Pusurubio, Pangasinan. And we have Benji Ocument. Good evening, Texas. Hello Ma'am MJ and Sir Corey Ivy, watching from Saipan.
Nice.
Yes. Wow, that's really nice. And then we have Laika Aguilar, hello Ma'am MJ, watching from Pusurubio, Pangasinan. And we have May De Vera. That's very brave of you, Sir Corey, choosing to find yourself again, to fall for yourself again. Yes. We all need that. We have to love ourselves because, we cannot love others if we don't love ourselves, right? As they say, you cannot give what you don't have.
Exactly.
Yeah. And it's not selfish to take care of ourselves. It's not selfish to love ourselves. So that I still can't believe, or I'm still in awe of what I've learned about you, Corey. And thank you for sharing that to all our viewers. Because I'm very sure that everybody that's listening and watching right now are really empowered and encouraged by your story. See, you you almost lost your faith because of what happened. But just that experience, that one night, that you almost even tried to take your life, right?
Yeah.
But it's true. When God is not done with us, they're not gonna, He's not gonna let things happen to us because He has a purpose for us. And that's why He gave you a second chance, because He knows that you are born to do something great, that you are here for a meaningful pursuit. And every single one of us has that. No matter how big or small, our experiences may be in different levels, in different capacities. We all have our roles to give in this world. We all have our contribution to make this world a better place. And in your case, having gone through that experience, now you are able to change one life at a time. So after that experience of yours, what came out of you? What was the next step that you did, boldly took? Because this is Be Bold, Why Not, right?
Yeah.
So,
No,
share
I
us.
started, actually, I started studying. I started taking classes on making myself better.
Mhm.
Because, at the time I was overweight. I really wasn't, I wasn't taking, I was eating junk. I wasn't, I really wasn't, I had taken myself for granted. I had taken my life for granted. And I was, and as more I learned and, taking classes, I took, conferences and things like that, from different professionals like nutrition, and I even took psychology classes and so on and so forth, and I've actually studied different religions, even though I'm Christian, I've studied the different, and they're basically, if you get down to the bottom root of them, they're pretty connected of the, you know what I mean? It's just, it's a tweak, but they're, it's all about all of us. We're all people, and we're all on the same rock. You know what I mean? It's like, we're all, and as much as the media tries to turn things into a bad light, what I've found, and through my travels also, is that people are good inside. The only time, most of the time, that they're acting out is because they're hurting. Hurt people. They're acting out or doing this because they got something that, that's why I think it's so important to focus on yourself, because the better you become with yourself, it spreads. You're a better, you're a better neighbor, you're a better person, you're a better, spouse, you're better, father, mother, you're better but you got to start with yourself. And then it kind of spreads. It's there's more good than bad.
That's
in
true.
the world.
Yeah. I mean, everybody, again, just like Les Brown says, right? You are born to do something great. You have something special in you. I think every single one of us has something special. Again, as I said earlier, has something special to contribute to the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you're right. We are human beings. We are born to connect with each other. We are born.
And
Yeah.
all the technology is trying to separate us. We really need to be, a fact is, that a hug, if you hug someone, it actually releases chemicals in your brain that actually help you. I used to make my daughters, before they went to school, hug me, just for a few seconds. If you like 4 seconds, if you hug another person, you connect, and it actually, both of you a reward from it. People don't, they just don't
realize that. That's true. I know there's good hormone. Yeah, there's a good hormone that's released when you.
Yeah, the oxytocin. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yes. Yeah. So see, we're learning not just, your story, but that's very true. Happy hormones, good hormones, they make you feel better, and it will make the other person feel better as well. And you get more connected with each other. And yeah. So now let me ask you, who are the top people in your life that you think have really influenced you? Just top 3 people, if you would share.
You mean personal or like I'd say
both personal and professional?
I think Dean Graziosi.
Uh-huh.
He did. I met him one time, and he is legit. You know, I met him way back when he was doing real estate before he got into what he's doing now with Tony Robbins. And I had went to a seminar, and I went through it. I got the picture with him, you know, and everything. And I brought the picture back, and I was going to try to get him to sign it, you know. And this may sound crazy story. Forgive me, audience. I had to use bathroom. I'd been on the road for about 2 hours to get to the hotel. And I had to sit down. So I was like asking the bell guy, hey, where's a remote bathroom? He's like, man, you can go through the restaurant. No one will bother you. He's like, go back there and you won't get hit because it was busy. It was like big, huge Hilton or whatever. And as I was going back, I saw him at his table before the meeting. You know, I was there early, and he was with his, whatever, the staff or whatever. So anyway, when I came back, I was like, you know what? I'm going to ask him. You know, I hate to interrupt him, but it looked like they were finished eating. You know, I wouldn't mess with him if he was still eating, but they were. So I asked him, you know, I was going to ask him to sign it, but I went up to the table and he stopped everybody. He got up from the table, pulled me away from the group, and he said, hey, is everything okay? Can I help you with something? Like, he cared that much that he like stopped everything. And I said, well, I was just that. He said, because I was at that time, I hadn't even closed my first wholesale deal or anything. You know, I mean, I was barely hanging on. I just was hopeless. I didn't think I was going to get a deal. And he said, look, it's very hard at first. Once you get that first one, it's all after that. And then he signed it, you know, he signed, you know, don't stop. But he was such a legitimate person that, you know, because I've met a lot of different people at different conferences, and they're not so much that their persona that you see when you meet them, you know what I mean, in person. They're not really as authentic, I guess you might say. And he was.
That's
definitely.
awesome. You know what? Yeah, Corey, we'll continue after our last break. Yes. So when we come back, we'll continue with our chat with Corey. So see you after a while.
Sorry, I keep running long.
No, it's okay. Okay, we're back quickly. I was going to take a break, and because I feel like I'm going to sneeze, right? But it's okay. I think we're good. But yeah, you said Les Brown too. So what influence does Les Brown have in your life? Can you share can you share that to us, Corey?
Well, what I would do is, and I still do, is part of my daily routine. I will do meditation, and then I do motivation. So I'll get my mind right. You know, I mean, I exercise also, but after I'm done with all that, then I'm at like breakfast and stuff. I got headphones on, listening to different speakers. You know, they have these reels of different, you know, Jim Rohn and some of the older ones. You know, just to keep you, you know what I mean, just to keep you motivated. You know, when you own your own business, there's nobody there to say, you know, there's no boss to say, hey, good job, keep it up, or you know, you kind of got to do that yourself. So
yes,
you know, I to self motivate myself. You know,
that's good. Yeah. Now share us about the signature story you shared during this conference. And
well,
you did a very unique thing. Okay, I'm just gonna share that to them. Share that to the audience or to our viewers.
Okay, so I wanted to explain to people how even if you fall down, you can get back up. So when I went down there, I told the guys on the side, I said, look, put the camera on the ground. And they said, what? I said, when I go on stage, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to fall on my face. I said, I'm going to face plant on the stage. And I said, and then I'm going to jump back up, and I'm going to explain to everybody to show them that everybody falls down, embarrasses themselves in front of everybody, but you get back up. It's what you do after you fall down. It's not falling down. Everybody falls down, but do you get back up, or do you stay down? You know, I just want to illustrate. And that's why I started with the illustration of you can get back up. You know, you can get back up. You know, everybody's been down. It's what you do. It's what you do after you've been knocked down. Everybody gets knocked down. It's just a matter of getting back up. You know, that's the hard part. You know, it's not so much the wins as your losses. That's when your real character comes out. It's everybody can be honky dory when everything's going great, but your character comes out when everything's going bad. You know, when the lights are getting shut off and you can't got enough money for food, or you know what I mean? When things are really coming at you, and you that's when you really test your character. You know, do you stay true to yourself and do the right thing and keep your hope alive? That's what it's about. You know, getting back up. I wasn't even
Yeah.
supposed to speak. I wasn't. I snuck
know.
in. I wasn't on the list.
We
was-
got that, yeah.
I wasn't on the list. I get down there. I'm like, how come I'm not on the list? And I talked to. He's like, well, man. He's like, I'm sorry if I can squeeze you in, I can, but I don't think so. Look how many people there, because there was a ton of people there.
Yes.
And the table I was at, it was like day 2 or whatever. They were coming up with everybody was doing the speaking and everything. And this lovely lady, Deborah, next to me, she said, Corey, I don't have she said, I hadn't had time to get my story together, my speech. She goes, will you take my spot? She goes, since you're not. I said, well, let me go ask them. And I asked them, they said, well, if she's willing to give it up, yeah, you can take her spot. And, it was fate, I was able to take her spot. And I was blessed that I knew it was good afterward because of the reaction from the crowd. I was like, wow,
Yes.
it was very, see, that feeling of the appreciation was really nice, that
Yes.
because I'd practiced and practiced and practiced, and to have it come together was a beautiful thing. I was taken off when they were announcing the winners. They were doing they stopped at the bottom and they were moving their way up to number 1. I got my stuff together, my books, all my bag. I was about to go to the car, and I was literally standing up to go to the car. And as I was walking, I heard my name, and I was like, did they just call my? Like,
I remember that. I mean, yeah, we were all shocked. What happened? Oh my God, he really fell, and that was so good. And it's true in life. In life, we are always gonna have trials and tribulations and failures and all that. But you're right. What happens after that is what's really most important. And according to Tony Robbins, right, he even says himself, the deeper the struggle or the deeper the failure, the bigger is the lesson that we learn from it.
Everything's a lesson or a blessing.
Yes.
Bless you.
Thank you. And I've even heard from, I think it's Trent Shelton. I also listen to him because, I do like you. I try to grow myself every day. So I listen to a lot of motivational speakers. I listen to a lot of lessons about personal growth and development. And he said that failures are a privilege, or trials are a privilege, because it's only through trials that we can grow to the better version of ourselves. Because without those experiences, when we are comfortable, you're right, when things are going right, everything is so good, it's nothing. There's no beauty to that, because you're not growing. When you're going through pain, it's like the rubber band. There's like the rubber band, as you stretch it, it's painful, but that's how you do it. Rubber bands are supposed to be stretched. And that's, and we experience pain. And when we are hurting, when we have pain, that means we're growing. Because if we don't experience pain, then life is good, and it's like you're not growing, you're stagnant, you're not going, you're not progressing, you're not, because as we grow from one level or stage of life to another, we tend to learn everything, and we grow to our mastery of life.
And that's the trick with learning, to learn from it. Don't dwell on the loop, the bad or the feeling or whatever, but to actually take the lesson that you learned and not the other. It was Wayne Dyer. He says, the past is the trail I've left behind. What drives my life today is the energy I generate each of my present moments. Basically, you learn from it, but you don't keep dragging, somebody did you dirty, or somebody betrayed you, or somebody, you don't hang on to that. People get betrayed, people get done dirty all the time, every day across the world, but they don't even care what happened to you. They're already moved on with their lives, and you're still angry about whatever you're angry about. And it's just, it weighs on you. They don't care. So, people, if you could let go, learn how to let go, forgive. And most people can't forgive themselves. They've done something, they can't forgive themselves. If you wouldn't do it today, right now, then you should forgive yourself. You're forgiven. Because if you wouldn't do it today, then everybody makes mistakes.
That's right. And if you forgive yourself, it's easier for you to forgive others too.
Yes.
And when you forgive yourself, you free yourself from the bondage of all those mistakes that you're carrying, the baggage and all that. So yeah, wow. So now I want to hear from you the most important lessons that you can share all throughout your life. I know you had a very exciting life as a child. You moved to different places, and then of course you traveled when you were just recently though, but you were in a relationship for 23 years. You were, yeah, being married for 23 years, and now you brought up your children, your daughters. So what are the most important lessons all throughout your life that you can share to our viewers?
I would
right
say the most important lesson would be that when you're at the lowest of low, the darkest of dark, and you think that no one cares and no one that you're not alone. You're not alone. That believe it or not, you are not alone, and God's there. If you don't believe in God, then the universe is there. There is a force that's undeniable, that's there for you and with you.
Mhm.
So don't ever give up. As bleak as it seems, don't give up. You know, my one of my sayings is, one drop of hope is more powerful than a sea of despair.
Mhm.
You know,
Wow.
so just stay. It's easier said when you're in the storm.
Mhm.
To say, yeah, everything's gonna get better. It's not easy in the storm, but you're gonna make it. The storm won't last forever. Rain doesn't last forever. Sun doesn't last forever. It's going to change.
Yes.
And if you focus on the change of the good, not what you don't have, what you do have. Do you have your health? Do you have a bed to sleep in? Do you have a roof over your head? Did you get something to eat today? If you go back to the basics of what you really need, you have somebody that loves you. If you don't, do you have food? You go to what you do have. Focus on the gratitude, not the what you don't have.
That's really very good. Yeah, focus on what you have and not what you don't have, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
if you're happy and content with what you have, no matter what happens, no matter what comes your way, when the going gets tough, you are ready to face and you can boldly just take it and become victorious and come out a winner, a champion. You are a champion of your own life, right?
Yes.
Yes, yes. So it's really been so amazing. But one more thing, other than those lessons that you have shared, I know you shared about professionally the two most important people that have significantly impacted you, but personally in your family. I know you probably I can see now what you're going to answer. So who are the most important people in your life right now?
Well, right now, of course, it's my daughters, but
Yeah.
my mom has been really good.
Yeah.
My mom, she she's got a really, really, really good heart. She's talking about somebody who's blessed by the angels, man. She's got a direct line. And yeah, she's been one. She's actually, I gave her my award. I don't think she understood what it was or gave her the trophy. I wasn't sure. I don't think she knew what it was, but I think she appreciates. She put it by her nightstand. So,
Mhm.
that's a good thing.
Yes. I know my mom is up in heaven. Oh, let's show your wait. Yes, let's show your website. Yeah, tell us about what you do now, other than of course you're a real estate investor who's a successful one. But
Well,
tell us about what you do.
I do the speaking, and also I've redone it a couple times, and I've just tweaked it to where I created a 30-day program,
Mm-hmm.
which takes you step by step for 30 days. If you commit to 30 days, you get it teaches you about nutrition, on how to start loving yourself, different ways of getting rid of the old baggage, the
Mm-hmm.
self-sabotaging thoughts, all that. It's really good, a lot of good stuff that I kind of cultivated from stuff I did to get
Mm-hmm.
myself to where things don't really bother me. I mean, it takes a lot for me to way back when, I used to be angry all the time. It wouldn't take much to get me mad. You know what I mean? Now it takes a lot. Because I look at the big picture, and it doesn't. So I've got the. It's really great. The 30-day life changer. It takes every day. Not only do you get a video, you get the work to do, but also I do a Zoom call as a coaching for the folks if they want, like once a week, or if they need more, they just schedule a Zoom meeting with me. So that way it keeps them accountable, so they don't start slacking and not following through. The end of the 30 days, man, it's literally a different person. Because I've actually had some friends that I helped, and they did it. It's a little bit trickier with a friend, because they don't want to. They think they can slack because they're your friend, Like, hey, man, did you get down today? Well, no. So anyway, no, it's really great. If people would like to buy it, that's great. If they don't, I'm cool with that. If you want, you can go on there. I did a coupon for you, MJ. That says MJ 100. If you do MJ 100, you get $100 off the program.
Thank you. Yeah, so it's a life-changing event. I mean, it's a life-changing experience. It's
a daily coaching on a video, and then you have your worksheets, and then also I interact with you as far as the coaching goes. And when you first pay, I just am covering, the tech costs and stuff. Basically, when you first pay, there's a pull down, and $50 of it goes straight to a charity of your choice. So $50, there's about 10 different charities, and you pick the charity, and then within a couple of days of you getting the course, you'll get a certificate from like St. Jude's or Red Cross or whatever. So immediately when you're starting the program, you're already starting off good because you're giving. Because I believe that giving is living. The more you give, the more you send in the lives of others comes back into your own. You know what I mean? So the more you give, the better. So they immediately start. As soon as they buy the program, they immediately start they're already donating to whatever cause they want, and
that is so, I mean, that is so creative of you. And that's true. You are not just helping change lives, but you are helping them to actually become contributors to society and make this world a better place. Well, anyway, we're already at our time, but before we end the show, let's see, because I did mention in the beginning of the show that we actually draw a winner. The more comments they make, they have a better chance of getting or receiving a prize. So let's see who won tonight. Yes. There you go, Rector Julius. Congratulations. Yep. Thank you for watching. And I give a little prize for them. So they've been very, very loyal to the show, and I just really appreciate them. So just a little something. And
sure.
So anyway, Corey, thank you again so much for your time, and thank you for sharing your story boldly.
Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. So tonight, that's the end of the show, but next Monday again, come and join us for another wonderful experience and a wonderful guest from one of the legendary speakers from Les Brown. So see you all on Monday. God bless everyone, and good night.
It's a pleasure. Bye.